Yeah, that's a little janky. I think I can do better. Welcome back to the shop. Yes, I already did a video about this camera mount, but as I was editing the video, put it up on YouTube, I saw some room for improvement, and that's in the mounting plate here for both the camera and the monitor. The camera mounts on a quick mount plate, more on that later, and there's a ball mount here, and it's screwed to a base here that's attached to this plywood, and with this extended bolt here, I can loosen it up, move the camera around any way I want, and then tighten it back down again. The monitor has a mount like so, and this is just a little thin steel plate with a mount, and there's a piece of plywood here, and a rare earth magnet here, and when you slide it in that slot, it clips in place. If I have to shoot from the other side of the mount, I take it off, move it around, and clip it right in here. I can improve on that, I'm pretty sure. I can make a better mount system at this end. Everything else I can leave the same. But before I do that, show you what's going to happen. Let me go over in more detail how I manufactured this articulating parallelogram here. So you can, if you want to make one yourself, you can make it very accurately. What I did is I made these two arms first, and I stuck them together with double-sided tape. Then I drilled the holes for the bolts to go through. So now the holes in this one, the holes in this one are exactly the same distance apart. Then, using the same technique, I took this plate, this plywood plate here, this side piece, and the block that goes between them to clamp around the pole, and I put those together with double-sided tape and drilled the holes. So that meant that these holes here and here were the same distance apart. And when you connected the whole thing together, you get this nice parallelogram. Now, I've got a tightening arm here with a T-nut here. There's another little tightening arm I have here, a bolt and a knob. And what that has is a T-nut behind it as well, back here. Obviously so the threaded bolt will not move. This is just a little piece of angle aluminum that is bolted through the top of the plywood. This went together ad hoc. It was as I needed it, as I needed to change it, as I wanted to change it, I did. So let's go on and show you where I'm going with this. First, I redesigned the mount itself. It's two pieces of plywood now, not one, on either side of the articulated arms. Bolt goes through here. These are 5/16. Bolt goes through here with a knob and a washer on the other side. A T-nut so that the bolt doesn't twist when I'm tightening up the friction lock. Now, to mount the camera and the rotating pivot for the monitor, I went to, well, let me get it over here. I went to McMaster Carr, and I ordered some of this 1x1 channel, 8-inch thickness channel. It's kind of expensive, but I think I paid about 50 bucks for this. It's 4 feet long, but I guarantee you I'll be using this for other projects. So I took a piece of that. First thing I did is I marked the center line of the camera and the monitor right here. So it's offset a little bit. I took the piece of aluminum channel and I mounted it in place here. Used the Dyken, machinist's best friend, Dyken. It's a die stuff that you can put on a little metal and scratch through with an awl or a marking gauge, marking awl. Mounted it in place like so. Then put a mark across it so I know where the center line of that is to put the bolt hole here. And I did the same for the bottom one. Now the top one is a 3/8" bolt that holds the camera mount in place. The bottom one will be 1/4-20. And with the bottom one, I will be, it sits like this. I'll be mounting drilling and tapping a hole 1/4-20 through here. It's not going to have a lot of threads, but I'll lock it in place with red Loctite and then put some JB weld in here so that bolt will never move. And then I can have another knob down here for tightening and loosening the pivot arm that's going to hold the monitor in place. The one for the top is a 3/8 inch bolt for the mount itself. You can see that's what it looks like. Got a 3/8 inch bolt. And that'll be drilled through here through. I'll mount the mount on here, and then the camera will sit like that, like it has before, right about here. So the monitor here and the camera here. Now these are going to be drilled and tapped 1032. 2 locations on either side, so that I put a screw through here and through here, and just screw it right into the piece of aluminum. The thing is, I clamp it together, put the piece of workpiece in place, and just drill it through while it's in place. Then take it out and then tap it 1032. Same on the bottom. This will be in place here, and it'll be drilled and tapped 1032. The bottom piece of aluminum is going to sit a little bit proud of the bottom of the wood, so there's no possibility of interference as the rod goes around to hold the monitor. Now, the pivot arm for the monitor is a piece of this 1/4 by 1 inch aluminum bar stock, which will sit here with a quarter inch hole drilled through it for the bolt, the knob at the bottom, cut to the right length so that the monitor will swing around, and it just swings around like so, and you can put the monitor anywhere along this axis here. Like everything else in photography, the monitor has a 1/4-20 mount at the bottom. Everything is 1/4-20. Now the quick mount I was talking about, this is what it looks like mounted onto my ball mount. It has an arm, a locking arm, and basically like a dovetail mount. And the way it works is, get the one out of here, this is the part that mounts on your camera. See, it's got a little base and a screw that mounts in your camera, and it goes in and clips in place. So when you want to remove the camera, you open it up, take the camera off. When you want it to put the camera back on, you put it in place, push down, and it locks the camera in place. So that's the quick release camera mount. Links in the description for those and for the aluminum that I got from McMaster Carr. Those mounts come from Amazon. I think they're 16 bucks. And like I said, the aluminum is a little pricey, but for the amount of aluminum I use in projects in the shop, it makes sense to just buy that. So let's get busy drilling holes, tapping holes, and finish mounting all this together. That might be a montage. Let's put it together. Now, is this the be-all, end-all? No, of course not. There'll probably be a change in the future. But for now, this is what I've got going in. So the first thing that's going to happen is this backing plate on this side, which has the T-nut and the carriage bolt for the lower friction lock, goes on first. Get it in the holes. Okay, then the other plate goes on top of that, like so. Of course, simple stuff. On top of those are some washers, and then another washer, and this side gets a nylock nut, and that'll adds just a little more friction up here for keeping it snug and not sliding down. And another washer goes on here, on the lower one, and then the knob, which came out of my supply of, all these knobs come out of a supply of jigs and fixtures that I collected over the years. So that's that. I'm not going to tighten that up just yet. So now the basic bracket, of course, is in place. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the camera mount, which has four, as we know, four 1032 screws to hold it in place. Now, I'm not going to Loctite these. There's no reason to. There's no vibration on this device, so it would require Loctite. And also, since the screws that I'm using are 1032 machine screws with washers, there's not a lot of compression that's going to go on in the wood itself. Okay, that's not, I'll tighten that up in a second. Now the next thing, of course, is the bracket for the camera, for the monitor itself. Same technique. Got the first one started. That was a bit of a pain in the butt. And the second one. And then the other side, of course. And then this side. And we'll just tighten this down. Here. So those, there it is, with the camera mount in place, the bracket sanded and smoothed out a little bit. Next thing is the monitor itself, the monitor bracket. What that gets is, let me get it right now, that gets a large washer up against the aluminum plate, then a smaller washer that I have here somewhere that goes up against there. So it's a metal against metal, even though this knob has a metal insert. It sits below the plastic. And this again is my supply of parts for jigs and fixtures, and that's a 1/4-20. Now the next thing and the last thing to go in place is the monitor itself. Again, 1/4-20 fitting at the bottom. I need to put a washer in here later, just to have one on the table saw right now. All right, and there it is. Voila. The camera's there, so I can't mount it here, but I'll do a picture of it. But there it is, sawdust all over the monitor. And now, let me demonstrate the monitor for you. This is what I like, is now, without pulling the monitor off and having to move it over to the other side with the possibility of dropping it, I just loosen the knob and it swings around to the other side. Swings around to here, other side, here. That's, I think, it's more secure and easier to deal with. And that's the HDMI cable for the camera. There's my new monitor mount, my camera mount and monitor. And again, articulates nicely up and down in a flat plane because of the parallelogram, whatever you want to call it here. Yeah, parallelogram. That's my new camera mount for now. Who knows what will happen 6 months from now. Anyhow, so here's a picture of the entire gadget all put together. And there you have it. The new mount, which is, everything's in place now and I'm using it. So until next time, make great things out of wood and maybe do a nice camera mount for yourself.